On the first day of the week at dawn, the women came to the tomb bringing the spices they had prepared. They found the stone rolled back from the tomb. But when they entered the tomb, they did not find the body of the Lord Jesus. While they were still at a loss what to think of this, two men in dazzling garments appeared beside them. Terrified, the women bowed to the ground. The men said to them, "Why do you search for the living one among the dead? He is not here. He has been raised up. Remember what he said to you while he was still in Galilee, that the Son of Man must be delivered into the hands of sinful men and be crucified, and on the third day rise again." With this reminder, his words came back to them. On their return from the tomb, they told all these things to the 11 and the others. The women were Mary of Magdala, Joanna, and Mary, the mother of James. The other women with them also told the apostles, but the story seemed like nonsense, and they refused to believe them. Peter, however, got up and ran to the tomb. He stooped down, but could see nothing but the wrappings. So he went away full of amazement at what had occurred. The Gospel of the Lord. Tomorrow morning at 6 a.m., I will receive a telephone call, the same telephone call that I have received for the last several years. It will be from a Black Baptist friend of mine, and at the other end of the line, his voice will say, "He be up now." That's an old expression of the Southern Baptists. He be up now, and that's the truth. He is up, risen from the dead. Of course, people that don't have any faith don't understand that. He is up. He is risen. Risen from the dead. From the beginning, they didn't believe it. And nothing has changed. A lot of people still don't believe it. They made up stories, they rationalized it away, said the disciples stole his body from the tomb. Today, there are even people inside the Christian church who will say, "Oh, it's not a real resurrection, it's a spiritual thing, but he didn't actually rise from the dead." Every Easter I have to tell this true story. Our friend Father Benedict Rochelle was at an Easter sunrise service a few years ago with a boyhood friend of his. Father Benedict grew up in a rather Jewish part of New Jersey. And a good friend of his from his childhood is now a Jewish rabbi. And they went to a sunrise service at Yankee Stadium, I think it was, in New York. And there was a rather liberal Protestant minister giving the sermon. And it went something like this. Well, you know, it doesn't really matter if Jesus rose physically from the dead. And you know, it doesn't really matter if you and I rise physically from the dead. And you know, it doesn't really matter if you and I are united with our loved ones in heaven. And at that point, the rabbi looked at Father Benedict and said, "So what matters?"